24-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic took another step towards a record 25th Slam title with an easy 6-0, 6-0, 6-1 victory over Frenchman Adrian Mannarino last night in Melbourne. The win propelled Joker to the quarterfinals of the Australian Open, where he'll next face top-ranked American Taylor Fritz. The world number one has been cruising at his favorite major, and we'll see if the hard-hitting Fritz can offer more resistance. For the 8th consecutive year, the Barn Burner Trophy remains in Bloomington as Terry Morin's Hoosiers outlasted a scrappy Purdue squad 74-68 in Mackey Arena yesterday. Chloe Moore McNeil and Sarah Scalia dumped in 20 points apiece, while Yarden Garzone added 17 to propel the 16th-ranked Hoosiers to victory. The Hoosiers climbed to 16-2 on the year and 7-1 in Big Ten play, while Katie Gerald's Boilers are now 9-9 overall and 2-5 in conference action. The Hoosiers next take on Northwestern on Sunday at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Chiefs, it's a rematch. Mr. Irrelevant versus the next greatest of all time. Super Bowl 58, February 11th. It's all going down in Vegas. Junior guard has the experience behind him to produce under pressure. Top 10 in the country in sharing the basketball, averaging 7 assists this season, he is a playmaker on the court. The Jayhawks have yet to crack under pressure, but as we all know, anything can happen in Assembly Hall. That's all for us. Be sure to follow along with us in the latest in everything IU basketball. Hey, on both sides of the court, the Lady Lions are showing no weaknesses. Starting off 2024, dropping 95 points against Northwestern, their largest conference win. Defensively, totaling a season team high of 17 steals, caused a season high 30 turnovers, and converted 44 points off their defense. Where does the Hoosier game need to change to dominate the Lions, or does it need to at all? So, where we are looking for people to step up, and no one is stepping up. And I think you look for Cam Camber, you look for Jalen Lucas, you look for Donovan McCulley, Omar Cooper. Where are you guys? I'm just like, at this point, you were trying to rely on some QB runs. Clearly, it's not working. You realize Jalen Lucas can't do the team on his own. So right now, there's no offense to really have a spark for IU, and that's no matter what, never going to let them win a game. For every game they've seen, there's always a QB and a wide receiver, or a QB and a running back that has always dominated the game. I mean, you saw it with Michigan, and now you're about to see it in Penn State. IU has to find a duo that's going to work for them.
Okay, so how's the workload matching it with practice? Now you're about to go into season. Yeah. You get 10 times busier. How's the balance between school, athlete, just being able to sit down for 2 seconds?
For what'd you say, 5 to 6 years. And so and this was his best year, was this year. So you need to take the opportunity to actually get coached by a team and fit in with a team and become a leader on a team. And I think that's what was really hard for a lot of the transfers came in. They thought they were going to come in as seniors and be like God's gift in creation, and they just weren't, So I feel like take the opportunity to be solid with a team. I don't think it's, really the best look when you're hopping around. So I feel like for many of them, take this opportunity. But like you said, though, I mean, with a new coach coming in, that changes everyone's perspective on what they want to do.
Right. First came into town and kind of handed it to IU.
They really did. But what's unfortunate is IU looked strong at the beginning. Yep. I mean, going 14-14 at one point. So I was like, okay, give me a game, IU. But then, of course, they always struggle with the QB run. And Gavin Wimsatt really did that. I mean, he had 16 carries, 143 yards, and 3 touchdowns himself. With that, it's going to be hard to ever win a game. So unfortunately, yes, they took the L on to the next game.
Looking at themselves in the mirror. I mean, Akron struggles with the rush game. They've seen that before. They struggle with handing off and actually getting yardage and going for the touchdown. And then they see both quarterbacks really rely on their passing game. I mean, and they're already throwing interceptions. So I think it's important for IU to acknowledge that their weak points are also IU's weak points that were at the beginning of the season. I think that will be a big step into what they look at. And score-wise, I mean, when you look at Akron's scoring, they're not scoring more than 30 points at this point. And I think that's important to acknowledge, too, is IU really isn't either. So like I said earlier, I think when you put in struggling with the rush game, struggling with quarterback, yes, IU has picked Taven, but still we saw in that game against Louisville, there wasn't much of a shine from him. I think we were all expecting more. So I think that they need to realize that they're looking in the mirror, honestly, when it comes to this Akron. See that Maryland really relies heavy on their passes, right? And IU's defense is strong when it comes to that. I mean, 3 interceptions last game, 1 being a pick 6, right? So, I mean, that's important. You look for those spots where you really can shine. I'm worried, though, that if I'm Maryland, I'm like, okay, we're going to incorporate some QB runs, right?
Yeah.
And that's where IU struggles. I mean, they allowed DJ Irons from Akron to get 140 yards. And it's just like, where? Like, why? And so I feel like, if I'm Maryland, I'm like, okay, they struggle on the QB runs. They get flustered. They don't really know where to go. I'm going to start to hit on that. But if